session, and we have Axel Brandenburg who will first say something on behalf of Nordita. So please,
Thanks, Henry, for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about Nordita, which is part of the organization which is hosting this event. As you know, this event is also sponsored by the Swedish Research Council and the Flow Center. But the program is one of the new activities that has been launched at Nordita in the last 3 years since it moved from Copenhagen to Sweden. Nordita was originally founded in 1957 in Copenhagen by Niels Bohr in the premises of the Niels Bohr Institute, as it's called, and it was sort of being a counterpiece to the then developing CERN in experimental high-energy physics. So at the time, Nordita was mainly a research center for atomic physics, and that's also the reason for the A in the Nordita name. So Nordita stands for Nordic Theoretical Astrophysics. That's how many people actually think, because I'm myself in the astrophysics community, of course, but the A stands not for astrophysics, but for atomic physics. But it has been abandoned in the 60s because of the general fear against atoms among the population. Meanwhile, Nordita has contributed significantly to developing and fostering theoretical physics in the Nordic countries. There are some prime examples, in particular the development of high-energy physics and astroparticle physics in Finland that was really non-existent in the early days, in the 70s and 80s, and with Jerry Brown at Nordita, who has spent a significant amount of time coming from the US, this really has changed significantly. And of course now there's no way that you can think of Finland being a developing country as far as high energy or astroparticle physics, very much the contrary. There are many other examples. One of them includes Bose-Einstein condensation. Just at the time of the discovery in the mid-90s, there were many initiatives starting at Nordita that helped developing this field quickly in the Nordic countries. So the main activity or the main purpose of Nordita is therefore to help fostering theoretical physics in the Nordic countries. Of course, the times have changed. At the time, Nordita was one of the main funding agencies for, or one of the main places that provided postdoc opportunities. The concept of postdocs didn't really exist in the 60s and 70s, and now, of course, things have very much changed. So, in the meantime, most of the postdocs don't necessarily come from the Nordic countries, although we still have many of them coming from here, but we just have an international intake of postdocs since we moved to Sweden. Nordita is funded to 50% now by the Nordic Council of Ministers, which is one of the reasons why we have such a big side towards Nordic issues. So one of the reasons for Nordita does exist is, of course, to help developing theoretical physics further. We do this by running nowadays programs which bring in an international body of excellence to these various events, giving ample possibilities for interaction between local and external visitors. And of course, in addition, Nordita is running conferences. It's also running the so-called Nordita Masterclass, which is one of the main legs in order to reach out towards the developing generation of coming postdocs. So master students, of course, are at the time where they're just thinking about their PhD studies. Nordita is also having some in-house research. In addition to the 5 permanent professors at the time, we have still a number of, at the moment, 14 postdocs. All of them are funded by Nordita. Many of them, or several of them, are funded by external sources. And the amount of staff is actually pretty big. By comparison to earlier times, it's now 48 if you look at the homepage today, which includes visitors, but not, of course, for program participants. So by and large, Nordita has not only recovered from its move from Denmark to here, but it has perhaps superseded in its activity and is still maintaining a fairly high publication record of 100 papers these words, let me then wish all of us a very successful two-day conference here, and thanks again for Henrik for giving me this opportunity.
And I'm going to say a little bit about flow, which is also organized in this. And the flow center is a center of excellence that was founded starting in 2007 from the Research Council itself for a period of 10 years. And the director is Dan Henningsson, as you know, and he will join us later today. And the vision with flow, as it is stated in the strategy, is flow as an outstanding environment for fundamental research in fluid mechanics, where innovative research is born and future research studies are fostered. And those who are engaged in this, the main emphasis is application mechanics department, but also in the aeronautical engineering and American analysis group at Cambridge Research. It's about 30 PhD students, or maybe 40 PhD students, and about 30 faculty members. Total money that we consume per year is about 40 million. And the activities that we are doing is that we have a PhD project, we have graduate school, which was part of this program here, we have seminar series, visitors, and also workshops and conferences. This workshop here is also part of that. And this is just how we are organized. We are in two different schools at KTH. One is the School of Engineering Sciences, one is Computer Science and Communication. And mechanics and something the main emphasis is in that. Research areas within the flow, at present at least, stability and transition is traditionally a very strong area at KTH. Flow control and optimization has grown during the last 10 years. High Reynolds number shows as geophysical flows, so the emphasis on this program, and several of the professors who are active in that field. We're also working with micro and complex fluids, and also a little bit into aeroacoustics. And this is just a group portrait of the group where we had an annual meeting a couple of years ago, and you can see the professors and a lot of the faculty as well as the graduate students. So the group is fairly big. And here are the research leaders, and you may recognize several of them. Dan Henningsson here, myself, Gustav Alberg, Arne Johansson will also join us this afternoon. Erik Lindborg working with physical flows, and then we have Mats Åbom, who is in aeroacoustics, and Anna-Karin Thunberg, who is in part of the direct analysis, but works on microcomplex flow. Okay, so now back to the program, and as I said, there have been sort of three different things during this April month. The first week we had a school, a graduate school, and this is just a portrait of photograph of those who participated. In the front row are principal the teachers, and the rest is the students who participated in the school. And I think we had about 40 participants of students, about 30 from abroad, or at least not Stockholm area. And no one has, as far as we graduated from the school yet, but it took us Then we had some turbulence here. We had a volcano that you all know, and that made some visitors stay longer than they had intended from the beginning, and others stay shorter and come later. But in some sense it worked out, because we had these Nordita apartments, so those who could not move out, they could stay, because those who could come in didn't come. So we had enough apartments anyway. But these are things that, turbulence is in some sense unpredictable, and so are volcanoes. Okay, we also did something else. This was, we call it an excursion, fluid solid interaction. It was last Sunday. We went out into the archipelago, as far out as you can go, and studied fluid motions of water and beer. That was a nice day. But of course, we had also work. And yeah, so today this is a program. So what I would like to do now is leave the word to Philip to give you some practical information on what will happen in today. So,
okay, thank you, Henrik. I will be very brief. So first of all, about lunches. We will have the lunches downstairs in the restaurant, as you all know. Now for these 2 days, you will get a lunch book home from me. So please come during the break to me, and I will hand you these lunch tickets. Tonight, I think starting at 7, if I'm not mistaken, or just after the last lecture, we will have a banquet for this workshop, which will also be in the restaurant downstairs. In order for us to plan or to get an account or an exact number who is going to be participating in both lunches and the workshop dinner, we have here a list of all the participants. Please also during the break sign here if you want to have lunches, the lunch tickets, or end the workshop dinner. Okay?
and if your name is not on that list, you can add.
Just add. Yeah. We need to have a more or less accurate list for the accounting. Then another thing about internet, if you want to have internet here, which you might need, I have here some paper slips where you can connect to the wireless network. If you need that, please also come to me. Then about slides. So for all of you that present here something and you want to share your slides with the other participants, please send me an email with a PDF of your slides after your talk.